Once upon a time, in a quiet little village surrounded by green hills, lived an old wise man named Rafik. He was known for giving clever advice to everyone from farmers to kings. People said if you have a problem, Rafik has the answer. But Rafik was getting old, and walking miles every day was not easy anymore. So he decided to buy a donkey, a small, brown, cheerful donkey with big ears and even bigger confidence. He named him Goofy because he was, well, a little goofy. Every morning, Rafik would walk to town with Goofy carrying the baskets. But Goofy had his own ideas about everything. If Rafik said, "Go left," Goofy went right. If Rafik said, "Wait here," Goofy wandered off into someone's garden. And if Rafik tried to be serious, Goofy would suddenly start braying loudly like he was telling a joke. Rafik often sighed, "Oh Goofy, you're the only donkey who doesn't know he's a donkey." Goofy just smiled and flicked his tail proudly. One day, Rafik and Goofy had to carry a few bags of salt to the next village. As they walked, the sun grew hotter and Goofy grew tired. When they reached a small stream, Goofy suddenly stopped, looked at the cool water, and splashed. He jumped straight in. Rafik shouted, "Goofy, what are you doing?" But something strange happened. When Goofy came out of the water, the salt had melted and the bags were light as feathers. Goofy brayed happily, hee-haw. "That was easy," Rafik shook his head. "You lazy creature, you only got lucky this time." The next morning, Rafik loaded Goofy's back again, but this time with bags of cotton. As they reached the same stream, Goofy grinned, remembering his brilliant trick. He thought, "If I jump again, the load will be lighter," so splash. But this time the cotton soaked up all the water and became heavier than ever. Goofy tried to move, but his legs wobbled. "Hee-haw, too heavy," Rafik burst into laughter. So the smart donkey learned his own lesson, didn't he? With much effort, they finally made it out of the water. Goofy was exhausted, dripping wet, and embarrassed. That evening, Rafik sat beside the tired donkey and smiled. "Goofy, today I realized something." Goofy looked up curiously. "I always thought I was the wise one and you were the fool. But sometimes, even wise men act like donkeys when they don't stop to think." Goofy blinked and gave a soft hee-haw, as if agreeing. Rafik continued, "Life teaches us in funny ways. You taught me that cleverness isn't about never failing, it's about learning from what happens." The two looked at the sunset together, one wise man, one goofy donkey, and one lesson learned both ways. Even the wisest can act foolishly if they stop thinking. And even a fool can teach wisdom if we're humble enough to learn.